Well, no, certainly most people to keep power have to do the kinds of things that are necessary to please people. And remember, when he builds autobahns, does everybody in here know what the Autobahn is, the freeway system in Germany? Why is he building the Autobahn? Why is he developing the Volkswagen Beetle? Not so that the German middle class will have a cute car to drive around with flowers in a vase. Not so that they can get from Dortmund to Mannheim easily. That's military superstructure. That's the military's. It's used for civilian purposes before the war, but it is a military act to build the autobahns. So don't be deceived. Hitler had a plan. He had many of the things we talked about. This is a very good question. I can't see your name tag.
Robert.
Robert asks a very good question. What do you do with people who are patently evil, who yet lead 65 million people or more, and who continue to inspire, say, a neo-Nazi group today? What do you do with that? That is a kind of leadership. Was he a people person? Not really. He was pretty obsessed with himself. He was the kind of guy who walked in the room and says, "Here I am. I'm the commanding person here, and I want your obedience. And I'm going, and if I don't get it, if I don't get your respect through fear, I will have you executed." Well, that doesn't really work in a democracy. Did he have passion? Absolutely. He had passion through the roof. He hated Jews. He thought that he believed the stab of the back myth after World War I. He believed that Jews had undermined Germany, and so his passion was to kill Jews. So he had passion through the roof. Did he have a vision? Absolutely. Of a country that would be purged of Jewish blood. This comes back through Hauenstein, Stuart Chamberlain, and then the race theory from the 19th century, back to Gobineau. He was familiar with that, so he had been intellectually shaped by a vision. And he wanted to see a greater Germany with Lebensraum, in which Aryans could expand and dominate first Europe, Eurasia, Africa, and then the Western Hemisphere. I've been in Berlin and seen his master map. I mean, it's an amazingly audacious plan for taking over the world. He wouldn't have physically occupied North America, but he wanted to control our economic system so it'd feed into the Third Reich. So he had a vision, powerful imagination. Did he have character? Well, yes and no. He was an ascetic. Do you know what an ascetic is? He lived a monkish existence. He was very orderly in his habits. He was a teetotaler for the most part. He was a vegetarian. He watched his weight. He couldn't stand to see lobsters boil. This guy had no problem sending 6 million Jews to the gas chambers, but he couldn't stand to see lobsters boil. So, you know, he was a vegetarian. He had a lot of personal discipline. He thought one of his personal disciplines was to avoid women, you know, until the end. I mean, he didn't want to have sex because he thought that drained off his energy. So, I mean, it's a kind of character. Did he have the ability to communicate? Through the roof. His ability to communicate and to mobilize millions and millions of people. Women fell in love with Hitler. They've done studies. Hitler was not the most handsome guy, but even from a distance, he had a very magnetic personality, and women reported, middle-class women reported falling in love with him, just the way you would a celebrity that you've never met. You say, "I love that guy." Hitler was loved by millions of people. TV, I bet you guys don't know this. TV broadcasts started in Nazi Germany in the 1930s. 1935, I think, was the first large TV broadcast, and people would go to like a Starbucks today. You know how you're hot wired? Well, in Nazi Germany, you went and you had the ability to go and watch TV broadcasts. Do you think this was for middle-class enlightenment? No, it was to further Nazi propaganda. So he had those qualities, but what's the essential difference?
He just didn't use them the right way.
He didn't use them the right way, and also He was not in a system. In a democratic system, you have to earn trust. You cannot abuse people's trust like that. That's the issue. That in a democracy, a Hitler, you cannot lead by fear and survive in a democracy. We are free men and women. We would not tolerate a leader who insisted on making us move forward by fear.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank our presenter.
Okay, thanks a lot.